and the ability to do anything it wants to do, and it casts it aside, that's a tragedy.
Well, not everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes.
Boy, they couldn't let this in a state of decay. But boy, they sure did.
Your neighborhoods are a thing of the past. I personally don't see any neighborhood that existed before gambling that has benefited.
Well, I got a job and tried to put my money.
It is not the loss of paradise. It's the loss of precious, irreplaceable opportunity. It'll never come down the pike again.
Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Grove City bus.
There's absolutely no competition. It's ridiculous to even think of a small business trying to compete with casinos. It's ridiculous.
Jamaica, but you hear
You had a chance to restore the Queen of Resorts back to be the Queen of Resorts. But I thought the word resorts meant a complete city.
They voted for casinos. They thought that casinos would bring them a better lifestyle. It hasn't happened.
You've got to realize that casinos don't want children. They don't want families. They want the guy with money.
You know, people always ask me what Atlantic City is today. And all I can say is it is a no place. It's not a real place.
The question that we have to ask ourselves, maybe in another 10 years, was it all worth it?
Clean anymore, because none of these ordinary cleaners gives me what I want. Now I clean and disinfect with Lysol deodorizing cleaner. Look, Lysol not only cleans the greasiest dirt, it takes cleaning one step further. Lysol cleaner disinfects as it cleans. Ordinary cleaners don't. Lemon Fresh Lysol cleaner takes cleaning one step further.
New Q-Tex. High-tech sealers. New Q-Tex. High-tech shine. Make Q-Tex perfect color for nails. Last a long, long time.
For really fresh-tasting spaghetti sauce, pick this. Or pick Ragu Chunky Garden-style spaghetti sauce with the garden fresh taste of chunky tomatoes, peppers, mushrooms. Ragu Chunky Garden-style with fresh from the garden taste.
Absolute dedication.
Okay, troops, let's begin.
Total commitment.
I think you can handle it.
And compassion.
Why do you care about this kid so much?
Because he's a kid.
You saved him. She's Kay O'Brien.
The lady's got style. Style and class.
Coming to CBS this fall.
Call me Kale.
Years ago, they danced in the streets here in Atlantic City. They danced in the streets and promenaded along this boardwalk as the corks popped and the champagne bubbled. Atlantic City, you see, had been down on its luck. The tourists had stopped coming. Unemployment was rising and neighborhoods were dying. This queen of resorts was beginning to look like a tattered old bag lady huddled on a boardwalk bench. So the voters in New Jersey listened when the politicians, boosters, and businessmen preached deliverance through gambling. They listened and they bought it. Casino gambling was invited to Atlantic City. This was the deal they cut. We'll let you in, Atlantic City said to the casinos, but when you come, bring visitors to our beaches, trade to our merchants, and jobs to our residents. In some ways, that gamble paid off beyond anyone's wildest dreams. There are 30 million visitors here every year, 40,000 new jobs, and $3 billion in new investment. Money pours in. On those promises, the casinos delivered, but not in the way Atlantic City expected. The jobs have mostly gone to people who live outside the city. The new visitors rarely leave the casinos, and little of this new prosperity has trickled down to the city's streets and neighborhoods. This is a shattered city. There's no longer a movie theater, department store, or major supermarket. The elderly and the poor who stayed simply cannot afford decent housing. The boardwalk and the downtown are a shambles of seedy stores and vacant lots. They stopped dancing in these streets a long time ago. What happened? Could it happen again? In Michigan, Louisiana, Florida, and West Virginia, there's growing interest in turning to gambling for economic salvation. What happened here? Listen to the people in Atlantic City as they tell us their story. The merchants worked harder than any single group to bring gambling to Atlantic City, yet half of their businesses closed since the casinos came.
And if the casinos really want to declare war on what's left of the merchants, there'd be none of us left. I couldn't compete with a 97-cent breakfast or a $2.45 dinner.
Nearly a fourth of the residents have left since 1976, under siege from rising taxes, land speculation, traffic congestion, and casino expansion.
Anywhere else, waterfront property, oceanfront property especially, you know, to have this type of decay and right on it, it's almost unbelievable.
The 30 million people who gambled in Atlantic City last year bet more than $15 billion.
Like a true gambler, I'm going to die broke. Believe me, I'm going to die broke, but I'm going to die happy.
Steve Wynn is chairman of the Golden Nugget. His stake in Atlantic City is enormous. The Nugget's win for June of this year alone was $18 million.
The Casino Control Act did not say that X amount of casino companies will come to Atlantic City and in their spare time rebuild Atlantic City. We don't know how to do that. We never said we could. That wasn't part of the deal. That wasn't the contract.
Frances Giannetti, who built the city's first motel, wants $25 million from Steve Wynn for her parking lot.
I believe in right, and I believe in the United States of America. You have a right to stay in business, and you have a right to sell your real estate at a going rate. And I will not be coerced.
Reese Pally, a former boardwalk art dealer, fought for Atlantic City to become Disneyland by the sea. He lost that battle, but won millions in real estate speculation.
Now what we're dealing with is people's expectations. Because the real tragedy, I mean, there are levels of tragedy involved here, is that everybody was a millionaire the day after the election. Up there, man. Man, they were going to make it. They're going to get the great jobs, and their houses would be worth a lot of money. And the day after tomorrow, somebody would come in with big fat bankrolls and make them all rich. Well, that's not the way things work.
And the day gambling passed, I never saw so many people. And this town is happy. And when you heard they were parading down the streets and dancing in the restaurants, the Strand Motel and the Stanley Restaurant, you didn't hear it all. They ran the boardwalk. They had it was like 4th of July or D-Day or VJ Day all over again. But everybody thought we were going to get the promised land.
There were promises made by the people who were the proponents of gaming, like this. If we can get casino gaming in Atlantic City, New Jersey, we will experience a renaissance here. We will have prosperity dripping from every pore. Overnight, ladies and gentlemen, our fellow citizens' vitality will be renewed. Money will flow. Jobs will be created. There will be construction. There will be tourists. We'll be alive and well again. It's a better day. But a lot of the people who made it happen didn't get the jackpot.
Do you remember the night the results came in and gambling won 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm, very much so. Gambling was going to come and it's going to revitalize the city and bail us all out, so to speak.
When you see that parking lot down there, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of have mixed emotions. I feel sad that I'm not down there running a restaurant. That's because that's what I'd love to be doing.
How many would you serve on a given night down there?
Well, in our season, 1,000 people would be the 1,000 people a night, 7 nights a week.
Then what happened when the casinos came?
Well, when the casinos came, that's the thing that really upset me. Resorts opened Memorial Day, and From June to September, that our revenue dropped 50%. In other words, instead of serving 1,000 people a day, we served 500 people a day. And
In 3
sometimes
months?
less. In 3 months, so our revenue dropped 50%.
And what did you think as you saw this happening?
I said, it looks like I gotta go. I can't compete with the casinos.
Why couldn't you compete with the casinos?
Because they're an all-encompassing thing. They had everything that the customer would want. You know, to sleep there, to eat there, to dine there, what have you. They had everything. There was nothing for the customer to leave. There was no reason for him to leave the building.
You couldn't compete with the casinos?
No, no one could.
Does it strike you as ironic that the merchants who fought so hard for casino gambling, thinking it was going to save this city, got hurt the most when it came?
Mm-hmm. Sure does. I still think about it.
We were all innocent. We didn't know exactly what would